Now to that controversy that has roared back into the headlines about Donald Trump and one of the most famous properties that bears his name, Trump Tower. Trump, who vows to deport all undocumented immigrants, was accused in last night's debate of using undocumented labor himself at the site of Trump Tower. NBC News has investigated what went on there for months now. And tonight, NBC News senior investigative correspondent Cynthia McFadden reveals what we found.
Last night, Marco Rubio let loose on Donald Trump.
You lied about the Polish workers.
Yeah.
38 years ago. He lied 38 years ago. All right, I guess there's a statute of limitation on lies.
In the 1980s, undocumented immigrants did do much of the initial work on the crown jewel of his empire in New York, Trump Tower, which raises the question, is Donald Trump a hypocrite?
Is it accurate to say that Trump Tower, the construction of it began on the backs of Polish workers who were unpaid?
No, absolutely. It's constructed on the blood, sweat, and tears of the Polish Brigade, as they were known in the industry.
Back then, attorney Wendy Sloan sued Donald Trump, his company, and others, claiming they failed to acknowledge at least 150 undocumented Polish men working off the books. Donald Trump testified and was asked what working off the books in the construction industry meant. His response? I really don't know.
They had no protective equipment, no helmets, hard hats.
In his 1990 testimony, Donald Trump denied he knew the workers were illegal. Did it ever come to your attention that any of those Polish workers were illegal aliens? I really still don't know that. Nobody has proven to me that they were illegal aliens.
It seems he was saying, in essence, that everybody else in town knew what was going on his own job site, and he didn't.
Daniel Sullivan, a labor relations consultant who had been convicted of tax evasion, testified that during the demolition, Trump himself knew he was using illegal workers on the site.
There's no question in my mind. I mean, he said it to me point blank.
NBC spoke with Sullivan in 1989. He has since died.
Donald's lying. Flat out. He knew exactly what was happening.
One of those workers, Mike Sosnowski, says he was promised $5 an hour, but wasn't paid for all of his work.
Must have been angry.
Very angry about that.
Sosnowski was one of only a few Polish workers with a green card. Several undocumented workers testified at the time they were making only $4 an hour, while the American union workers were making $12 to $14. They also said they were not paid for months of work, but at the time were too afraid to protest outside the building.
They're looking for the not legal people, so that's people were very afraid about that.
Mr. Trump told us it was the contractor's responsibility to pay the demolition workers, not his, and a federal court agreed. Still, he never reported the workers or tried to get them deported. Mr. Trump also told us he would have done nothing different. And again, last night, defended himself.
I've hired tens of thousands of people over my lifetime. Tens of thousands.
Many from other countries instead of hiring Americans.
Be quiet. Let me talk. I've hired tens of thousands of people. He brings up something from 30 years ago. It worked out very well. Everybody was happy. And by the way, the laws were totally different. That was a whole different world.
Despite Rubio's claims, what Trump ultimately paid to settle the matter was sealed by the court. Nonetheless, in the final ruling on yet another case involving the Polish workers in Trump Tower, the U.S. Court of Appeals wrote that in the end, time generally reveals what a falsehood hopes to hide.